Behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments, even as the Lord my God commanded me, that ye should do so in the land whither ye go to possess. I'd like to start off by saying, Call Haloyim La, Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Rakakwadash, the honors to the apostles and the elders of GMS, and Shalom to the elect. I'm going to do a quick video on just some random scriptures that I was going into, So this is Lord's will to be edifying. This is Deuteronomy 4 and 5. It says, Behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments, even as the Lord my God commanded me, that ye should do so in the land whither ye go to possess it. Right, Moses gave the law, to the Israelites, man. And Israelites, being you blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, we are supposed to keep these laws, even to today, Now, we know that we can't keep them perfectly, but nevertheless, we're still supposed to keep these laws for a reason. And in verse 6, it tells you that. It says, Keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations, which shall hear all these statutes and say, Surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people. Right, but so basically it says, wherever we go, we're supposed to keep our heritage, keep who we are, because, let me just finish. All right, so it says, we're supposed to keep this, the Lord's statutes and commands, because that's our wisdom, in the sight of the nations. So these other heathen nations, they will look at us. This is why we this is why we aren't looked at. This is why we're looked at so lowly, man. This is why these other nations, they look at us like nothing, because ultimately we're not hearkening on to the things that made us great, A part of keeping because you got to understand, Israel is what? We were a holy people. Let me get that real quick. This is Deuteronomy 7. This is Deuteronomy 7 and 6. It says, For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. Thy Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself above all people that are upon the face of the earth. Right. So we separate, man. We're above everybody else, according to the scriptures, because it says what? It says above all people that are on the face of the earth. So above all these other nations, we are superior, but we're not looked at that now because what? We didn't keep these laws, statutes, and commandments, our wisdom, which was, that's what we were supposed to do in order to be, set upon high, but we didn't, and for that's why we're looked at low in the way we are, because, when you talk to, like, Jake in the world and things like that, and, well, I say Jake with sense, because, the average Jake don't even know how he's looked at. He doesn't even really even care. He's basically in his own world, caught up in, like, the folly, rap shit and all of that. But for a Jake that think that he's smart or got some sort of understanding, that's zeal, but not according to knowledge, you can have a conversation with him. You can start going into things like why we looked at this way, and, they'll come with some unity and all of that stuff, but ultimately the answer is because we did not keep the law, statutes, and commandments, man. We didn't go into the book, we went into everything else, not understanding that the ways of the Lord are what's going to keep us alive and going to make us prosper. Let me get that. And what am I looking for? Yep, Joshua. Verse 8, Joshua 1 and 8, it says, This book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth, but thou shalt meditate therein day and night, that thou mayest observe to do according to all that is written therein. Right, so this is supposed to be our manual, when you get when you buy like something you got to construct, or, instruction manual basically, and it tells you this is ours, the Bible, the New Testament, the Old Testament, and the Apocrypha. That's our history book. That's our instruction manual on how to live. It says, and we're supposed to meditate therein day and night. So we're supposed to be constantly always going back to this. Our mind ain't really supposed to be into too much of we ain't supposed to really be into none of the nonsense. But, in this world, we've been conditioned to be, because the scriptures say what? Folly is set in great dignity, right? So in this world, folly is put on high. So I guess over generations of living in this shit, you will tend to cater to that a little bit. But even still, your main purpose and your main source is supposed to be these scriptures, man, to always double back to that. It says that thou mayest observe to do Salakia, where am I at? That thou I'm gonna read it from the top. It says, this book of the Lord shall not depart out of thy mouth, but thou shalt meditate therein day and night, that thou mayest observe to do according to all that is written therein. For then thou shalt make thy ways prosperous, and then thou shalt have good success. And I read it in the NLT. It says, study this book of instruction, right? Like I said, it is an instruction manual on how to live. Continually meditate on it day and night. You know, so constantly our mind is supposed to be on these things. It says, so you will be sure to obey everything written in it, right? You know, to the best of our abilities, because we are going to go off, and this is the point. That's why we need Yahweh Shah. But even still, we try. You know, you try to do the best. You try to, do the best you can. Strive for perfection. It says, only then will you prosper and succeed in all you do, right? So had we done these things, you would have succeeded in you would have basically prospered. Now, would that mean would that mean you would be a damn NBA star or something? No, because that's not the Lord's will. But ultimately, you would still be prosperous, because the things that our spirit truly desires, is the Lord, put it there. So had we followed these laws, statutes, and commandments, had we sought out of the book, like the scriptures say, we would have prospered, man. You know, since I said that, let me get this is Isaiah 34 and 16. It says, seek ye out of the book of the Lord and read. And what's that book? That book is this Bible, man. The Holy Bible, the separate Bible, the separate book. It says it's separate because it's only for who? For the Israelites, which are you blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. It says none of these shall fail, right? Because none of the things that are written in these scriptures shall fail. It's all going to come to pass. These prophecies, you know. It says none shall want her mate, right? Because all these other books, that ain't it, man. You're not going to find the answers. Because Jake, at the end of the day, is looking for answers, man. Our people are broken people, and we're looking for answers. But the answers are in the Bible. It's not in anything else. It's not in you know what I mean? The answers to your true troubles are not in the encyclopedia. It's not in the Quran or the any of these other books, the Book of the Dead or the Sea Scrolls or I don't know any of that other stuff. But yeah, all those other books that people, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, like nah, that's not where your true answers is coming from, man. It says, for my mouth, and those books aren't telling you what's about to happen. It says, for my mouth have it commanded, and his spirit it had gathered them, So the Lord spoke these things, man. So they're gonna come to pass, man. All your answers to what's happening, what's gonna happen, why you going through things, how to get right, how to change your life. They're all in this book, man. But our people don't want to believe that. They want to think that they want to seek out something else, man. They want to go into all type of doctrines and they're not satisfied with what they're getting out of these scriptures, ultimately because it ain't for them, It's not for them. It says, or it might not be time for it, I'll say that. All right, it says, this is Isaiah 28 and 9. It says, whom shall he teach? Salakia, whom shall he teach knowledge? And whom shall he make to understand doctrine? Them that are weaned from the milk and drawn from the breast. Right? And this is reading NLT, who does the Lord think we are? They ask, why does he speak to us like this? No, that's not what that means. No, this is why sometimes when you're reading, you gotta actually know. It's good to go into the KJV because, some of these translations, even though NLT makes some of them to be plain, some of them is off. So it says, who shall he teach knowledge? So who is the Lord how you gonna get this knowledge? And whom shall he make to understand the doctrine? Right, them that are weaned from the milk and drawn from the breast, babes. The scriptures say desire the sincere milk, right? Meaning you got to understand the simple things first, and then through the Spirit, you know, the Lord will give you that increase. You know what I mean? It's like just like a kid, like a baby or like a 6-year-old, right? You're not going to just throw him in freaking AP calculus or like some damn advanced college course, right? You're going to teach him the small things, your ABCs, how to pronounce a word, you know, pronunciation of words, things like that. You're going to teach. That's the thing, the sincere milk. You know, the small things that are able to, that a baby can digest. You're not going to, like, you know, the brothers always say, you're not going to feed a baby steak, right? Why? Because it'll choke, right? This thing is about coming in as the scriptures say that, you know, you have to come in as a child, you know, so you have to basically learn the simple things first, desire the sincere milk. And then, you know, over time, you grow some teeth, and then you could go into a little something stronger, you know. But ultimately, when you're following these laws, statutes, and commandments, that's going to give you your wisdom, you know. Right, I'll read it. Hey, verse 10, it says, "For precept must be upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line, line upon line, here a little, there a little." Right, you know, so when you go, because when you read the scriptures, right, it's more than just a book and just chapters. You know, because this is going to be your daily walk, man. This is what you're going to be going into for the rest of your life. So think of it like basically all these things got to connect. You know what I mean? Like, so as you're watching a movie, for example, you might watch a movie and then after a while, you start to, when you watch a movie over and over, you start to notice new things. You know, you start to notice little different things. And now you see in the beginning of the movie why this part happened, right? When you get to the end, you're like, oh, okay, so that's why that happened. It's basically you connecting it. No different than the scriptures, man. You got to connect it. So, because it all connects. It's spiritual, so it all connects. And and as you keep going in, you'll constantly find new connections. You know what I'm saying? New, deeper understandings and things like that. So you can never just read the Bible one time and just think you know it all. It's impossible, right? You constantly, like I said, precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little, there a little. You're going right here. And it dislinks with that. You know what I'm saying? Then you go back, you know, back and forth. So that's what these scriptures do, man. This is why you're constantly in it. Let me get Psalms. What did I want? Right. This is Psalms 119 and 104. It says, "Through thy precepts I get understanding. Therefore I hate every false way." But yeah, through thy precepts, you know, the precepts in these scriptures, you get understanding, right? You get understanding of what that scripture was saying. You get understanding on life, man. You just get understanding in general, man, constantly being in this book, man. And I guess I guess I'll probably name the video "The Importance of the Scriptures," man, or the importance of staying in this book and just coming back to it. Because, you know, the conversations I have is like, yo, you'll be surprised how many Jake went to church, you know, grew up in the church and stuff, but they never actually read the book themselves, man. You know, they never actually read the book, and you can't count on these pastors to teach you the true scriptures. They're not going to teach you nothing. You know, from my experience, what happens is you go to church, you know, they tell you about how God is going to make you make some money this year, or whatever the case may be, you know, and just basically a reward, a carnal. It's carnal in a sense, man. You know, oh yeah, the Lord is going to, just that big blessing, that big job you're looking for, man. The Lord is going to drop that on you this year. And then you got the collection plate, and then you got some people singing, and then the collection plate again, and then next service. You know, so it's more entertainment. It's a carnal thing. But when you actually go into these scriptures for yourself or seek out true teachers, that's when you'll get that understanding, man. And let me get one more. I'll get one more. And I said, which is just some thoughts. You know, you're going into the scriptures and why. Like, just being surprised at, or why the scriptures are so important. And ultimately, yo, Jake just don't even know. Jake don't go into the scriptures for themselves, man. They never really got into it, man. They never really seeked out the Lord for themselves through the scriptures, though, not relying on their own understanding. So I'll end it off with this. It says, this is Psalms 19 and 7. "The law of the Lord is perfect, converting the soul. The testimony of the Lord is sure, making wise the simple." Right. So basically, when you following these laws, when you going into the scriptures, man, you know the it becomes simple, man. It becomes easy to understand if it's for you ultimately first and foremost. If it's for you, if it's, you know what I mean, if the Lord wants you to get this, when you're seeking it out, when you're going into it the correct way, desiring the sincere milk, not basically coming in thinking you a damn scholar, but coming in with a humble spirit, man, and going into these scriptures because you sincerely want to know for yourself, and not because some damn pastor, you know what I mean, or whatever the case may be. You going into it, This is when the Lord is going to make, you know what I mean? He's going to make the wise simple, man. He's going to make the things that seem like crazy hard, he's going to make it simple for you to understand, because that comes with an increase. But first and foremost, you got to go into these scriptures, man. That's why I ended off with what I went into. What's that? That was Deuteronomy, right? I think I started with this. No, it wasn't that. Hold on, Salakia. Let me see. It was Deuteronomy 4, I believe. Right. This is Deuteronomy 4 and 5. It says, "Behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments, even as the Lord my power commanded me, that ye should do so in the land whither ye go to possess it." Wherever we go, we got to keep these laws, statutes, and commandments to the best of our abilities. It says, "Keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations." This is how we'll be great in the sight of the other nations ultimately. When we keep these laws and we really getting into it and we really keeping them and we really seeking out the Lord and doing what's pleasing to Him, listen, man, everything else comes after that, So I don't want to make it, I was just kind of all over the place, but through the Spirit, it was just surprising how many Jake never really sought out the scriptures themselves, man. They just, take words. It could be a little bit of laziness, or I don't know, but you got to go into these scriptures, man. So with that, I want to say, call